Hi students, now I'll be posting lessons on trigonometry for SAT, ACT and CAT. I'll be posting lessons beginning from the basics of trigonometry so that even the 8th graders and 9th graders could easily understand all my lessons. This is the first part of my series. Maybe it takes 5 to 6 parts to complete all the lessons on trigonometry. Keep watching. Trigonometry falls in the additional topics of SAT math section. Some schools start teaching trigonometry at 10th grade, maybe some around 11th grade. It differs from school to school and from country to country. Whatever may be your grade, just focus on the basics that I begin today and watch all the videos in the series. After 5 or 6 lessons, I am sure you will become perfect in trigonometry, no matter whether you are in 8th grade or 9th grade. What is trigonometry? Trigonometry is a branch of math that deals with relationships between the angles and the lengths of triangles. It means you need to learn about triangles. You don't need to learn everything about triangles, but you need to learn some basics. You need to have some knowledge about triangles. What knowledge is it that I'm going to teach you now? Since trigonometry is about triangles, let me teach you a few things about triangles. These two are most important properties of a triangle. First, a triangle has 3 sides, 3 angles and 3 vertices. Look at this triangle. This is a side. This is also called the base of the triangle. And this is the height of the triangle. Right? Now, there are 3 sides. There are 3 sides, or you could also call them 3 legs. And the sum of all internal angles of a triangle is always equal to 180 degrees. Look at this triangle. He says it's a right triangle. Here he says equilateral triangle. Here you have isosceles triangle. Whatever the type of the triangle may be, the sum of the 3 internal angles is always 180 degrees. You know what is this sign? This sign indicates 90 degrees. Okay? And this is also called a right triangle or a right angled triangle. So what is a right angled triangle? It's a triangle in which one of the angles is a right angle, or one of the angles measures 90 degrees. And look at the sum of the remaining 2 angles. That is also 90. Because the sum of all the 3 angles is 180 degrees. Here you have an equilateral triangle. What do you mean by equilateral triangle? If all 3 sides and if all 3 angles of a triangle are equal, then you call it equilateral triangle. Right? Look at the internal angles. Each angle is 60 degrees. And what is the sum of the 3 internal angles? 60 plus 60 plus 60 is 180 degrees. Okay. Now there is a small dash on each leg, on each side. What does it indicate? It means equal to. That means all the three sides are equal in length. So this is an equilateral triangle. Next you have isosceles triangle. What is this isosceles triangle? An isosceles triangle has two angles of the same measure. Okay, so two angles of an isosceles triangle have the same measure. Look at this angle, internal angle. This is 45 degrees. And this is also 45 degrees. 45 plus 45 is 90 degrees. If the sum of two angles is 90 degrees, then the measure of the third angle has to be 90 degrees. I told you this is a symbol or a sign for 90 degrees. And an isosceles triangle also has two sides of equal length. The length of this side is equal to the length of the other side. For the time being, just learn these three types of triangles. What are they? Right angle triangles, equilateral triangles, and isosceles triangles. Now you have right triangle. I have already said one of the angles of a right triangle is 90 degrees. Here you have an example of a right triangle. Do you see? One of the angles is 90 degrees. Look at these slightly two different names of this angle. In American, this triangle. In American English, it is called a right triangle, and the British call it right angled triangle. You need to remember this terminology. The names of the three sides of a right triangle. Here you have the hypotenuse. What is this hypotenuse? This is the longest side of the right angle triangle. This is the hypotenuse, which is the longest side of this right triangle. Here you have one more observation of the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is opposite to the angle of 90 degrees. So this is the right angle, right? The hypotenuse always lies just opposite to the right angle, or just opposite to the internal angle, that is 90 degrees. Next, the fourth point, the opposite side is also called the perpendicular. What is this perpendicular? Look at, this is called the perpendicular or the opposite side, or this opposite side or the perpendicular is opposite to the, this is a reference angle. What do I mean by reference angle? Here theta is the reference angle. Okay, theta, or in American English it is called theta. In British English we pronounce it theta. In America it is pronounced theta. So theta is the reference angle. Okay, so you have a right angle, 90 degrees. You have a reference angle, that is theta. It could be 45 degrees, it could be 30 degrees, it could be 60 degrees. And the side opposite to the reference angle is called the perpendicular or the opposite. Okay. And finally you have the adjacent. Now you understand what is an adjacent. The adjacent side is also called the base. Okay. And this side is adjacent to adjacent to the reference angle. See, so the adjacent always lies along the reference angle. So these are the points you need to note. Remember this terminology, because this terminology is the basis for trigonometry.